The gravel crunched, a lone pair of boots sinking into loose gravel, kicking up dust. The farmer stepped down from his rusted truck, close up on an old weathered hand gripping the side of a truck. Beside him, his daughter, clutching a folder, walked steady. A young woman holding files tight to her chest, walking purposefully. No greetings. Two people approaching, faces determined, shadows stretching long. Met them only laughter, a group of well-dressed men snickering, cigars dangling from lips. "Wrong place, old man." A hand reaching out, fingers curled, sneering. Someone sneered, a mocking grin twisting a man's face, eyes narrowed. The suits laughed. Men in dark suits, polished shoes, faces lit by a flickering screen. The farmer kept walking, eyes forward, silent. A close-up of the farmer's face, jaw clenched, eyes fixed ahead. His daughter, silent too, beside him, shoulders back, chin held high. The auction yard buzzed with arrogance, a vast hall filled with men in suits, all talking at once. Developers, they called the land opportunity. A man pointing at a map, eyes gleaming with avarice. They called the meadows profit. Men scribbling numbers, cigars smoke curling around their heads. They did not see the history in the soil. A field stretching to the horizon, bathed in sunlight, rippling grasses. They did not see the scars of families pushed aside, but the farmer saw every scar. The farmer standing amidst a field, head bowed, eyes closed, remembering. He had lived them, carried them, remembered them. The daughter had studied every page, her fingers tracing lines on a map, eyes focused, determined. Her pen sharp, her mind sharper. She knew the numbers, the clauses, the traps. She whispered to her father when to move, when to hold. The farmer nodding slowly, his calloused hand tightening around hers. Together, they had planned for years. The auctioneer shouted first parcel, a gavel slamming down, a sea of hands shooting up, quick, confident, greedy. Hands shoot up, grasping, reaching, desperate. The farmer raised his paddle, a lone paddle rising slowly, steadily. Snickers echoed through the crowd. Men leaning forward, faces twisted in scorn, eyes glittering with amusement. "He will fold," they said. A man's voice echoing, confident, sneering. "He is bluffing," they said. Faces close to the screen, eager, mocking, but he did not fold. The paddle remains raised, unwavering, resolute, and his daughter never blinked. Her eyes fixed on the auctioneer, unwavering, intense. One parcel sold. A gavel falling, a man rising, hands in the air, triumphant. Then another. The farmer bid again and again, his paddle becoming a weapon, a shield, a flag, his silence louder than their jeers. A man's face contorted with rage, hands clenched, eyes burning. The room began to shift. Whispers ripple through the crowd, murmurs growing, faces turning. Who is he? Eyes staring intently at the screen, brows furrowed, mouths parted. Where did he come from? A close-up of the farmer's face, stoic, unreadable, impenetrable. He had hidden in plain sight, working, building, waiting. The next parcel came prime farmland, fertile acres stretching to the horizon. A river running clear beside it, reflecting the sky. The jewel of the county, the jewel of the auction. Men leaning forward, faces hungry, eyes gleaming. The farmer lifted his paddle, calm as stone, a single paddle rising amidst a sea of movement. The hammer fell sold. A deafening silence descended. The gavel striking the table, a hush falling over the crowd. The room froze in disbelief. Men gaping, mouths agape, eyes wide with astonishment. The daughter turned eyes, steady, victorious. Voice steady. You never saw us coming. Her gaze sweeping across the stunned faces, her chin held high. The suits demanded answers. Men rising, voices booming, fists pounding tables. The farmer spoke at last, his voice rumbling, deep, resonating. My name is Thomas Mallister. His eyes meeting theirs, unwavering, resolute. This land belonged to my grandfather. A weathered hand resting on a table, fingers curled around a handkerchief. Today, it belongs to my family again. A young woman stepping forward, joining her father, her voice ringing clear. This is my daughter, Emily. A father's arm tightening around his daughter's shoulder, their faces etched with determination. She will guard it when I am gone. But the story did not end in the hall. Outside, the developers seethed. Men in expensive cars, faces twisted with rage, engines roaring. They tried pressure. They tried threats. A man slamming a briefcase on a table, voice shaking with anger. They sent lawyers with polished smiles. A lawyer adjusting his cufflinks, a steely glint in his eye. But every document was airtight. The farmer closing a file, a satisfied nod, a sense of security settling in his eyes. Every title clean, every signature strong. The daughter had prepared for all of it. She had worked tirelessly, studying titles, poring over maps. Neighbors whispered in pride. A group of people exchanging glances, nodding, lips curving into smiles. Children pointed at the ranch and said, "That is where hope lives." A group of kids pointing, their faces alight with wonder and admiration. Seasons rolled on fields turned green again. A vast expanse of land, rolling hills, vibrant pastures, rivers sang under clear skies. A river gushing over smooth stones, its song echoing through the valley. The land breathed free, a close-up of a flower blooming, petals unfurling, reaching for the sun. Not broken into concrete. A lone boot resting on a slab of concrete, a hammer and chisel lying abandoned nearby. The farmer walked the soil at dawn. A man's worn boots sinking into soft earth, leaving imprints. Boots pressing into the earth, feeling the texture beneath them. He touched the rusted fence, an old hand resting on cold metal, fingers tracing faded paint. His grandfather once held. A weathered face etched with memories, eyes distant. Debt collectors who came when he was a boy. A flashback of a young boy hiding, fear clutching at his heart, footsteps echoing, machines that tore down homes, clanging of metal, the screech of machinery, a house crumbling. Promises broken in boardrooms far away, men in suits, faces pale, voices hushed, betrayal heavy in the air. But now the fence stood on their land, the rusted fence stretching as far as the eye could see, marking the boundary. The machines were gone, a vast field stretching out, untouched, pristine. The promises were theirs, their land, their legacy, their future. The farmer lifted his head, eyes gleaming with triumph, a ghost of a smile touching his lips. Developers still seethed, men pacing, faces contorted, voices low. But the farmer had allies now, farmers and townsfolk standing together, faces determined, arms linked. Banks respected the name Mallister, a bank manager straightening files, a worried crease between his brows. Even the sheriff tipped his hat passing by. A lawman doffing his hat, eyes twinkling, a gesture of respect. Respect once denied, now earned in silence. The story did not end that day. It continued in the quiet strength of a family, in the bond they shared, in the land they reclaimed, in the silence that spoke volumes.